So we have another passenger in an airplane that takes what appears to be the clearest picture of a UAP right outside the window. And we'll get into whether or not it looks real or not. But there is some reflection. Also, we're going to be talking about what the FBI is talking about, or the latest news from the FBI in New Jersey. We also have some UAP activity in the Carolinas. We also have UAP activity in Knoxville, Tennessee, and Sparta, New Jersey. An interesting homemade video. I believe it was taken with this young man's phone, of two UAPs over a mountain, and there's a house right there, and it literally looks like it's about 1,000 feet or 500 yards above that house. So that's an interesting one. So those are some of the clips I'm going to be featuring today. And then unfortunately we have some bad news coming out of Florida, and that has a child injured. If you haven't heard yet, we're going to get into that and more on these clips next, right here on the Human Spectrum. Okay, so welcome to the Human Spectrum, and thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. So like I said, we're going to get into, first we're going to get into this accident that happened in Florida. So apparently what they do in Florida is they have, I think it's in the Orlando area, they have this, this company that flies drones, and they do a show in the sky, and I'm sure you've heard of this, and they do all kinds of maneuvers and all this other stuff. Well, apparently things went really bad, really fast during the first part of their show, and it unfortunately there was some tragedy. So if you haven't heard, I'm going to play this little bit of a news clip about what happened to this child, and even more interesting is what was the reason for them falling out of the sky.
Of a 7-year-old boy hit by a drone during Orlando's holiday show is pleading for help and answers. She says her son Alexander needed heart surgery after he was hit in the chest when the drones fell over the weekend at Lake Eola.
Nancy, we were texting just a few hours ago, and the first words Alexander's mom said to me was, and I quote, "This is hard," as you can imagine. She said her 7-year-old did have that heart surgery, and now they're monitoring it. But sadly, they expect him to stay in the hospital through the holidays. I want you to take a look at that moment. The drones fell out of the sky here at Lake Eola Park. This video is being shared across the country. You can see those drones hitting each other before several of them started falling. The city planned for 2 holiday shows that night, but they had to cancel the second because of everything that happened. Alexander's mom told us his sister found him on the floor, unconscious, with blood coming out of his face. She said the blade hit his lip and the drone itself electrocuted his heart, which is why she says he needed that heart surgery.
He's been asking every day, like, how many days till Christmas, Mom? How many days till Christmas? And, we're doing the countdown, and now it's like all he's going to remember before Christmas is that 4 days before Christmas, he had to get open heart surgery.
Alexander's mom also told me they've reached out to the company that hosted this, Sky Elements Drones. They haven't heard back, but they did send a statement to WESH 2. In it, Sky Elements said they're sending their sincere hope for a full and speedy recovery, and it's committed to upholding the highest safety standards. We know the FAA is now leading this investigation to try and figure out what happened. Until this family gets some answers, Alexander's mom started a GoFundMe to raise some money so they can help pay for what they describe as unexpected medical expenses.
So a bit of sad news, and of course, our prayers go out to that little boy and his family. I cannot imagine what his mother and father are feeling like right now. The drone apparently fell on top of him and electrocuted him and really damaged his heart, and he needed heart surgery. And like they said, there is a GoFundMe page for that. If I find any links to that GoFundMe page, I will put it in the description for anyone that's interested in helping that family and for that little boy. So, little sad news there. And but what I find interesting is I know there's glitches, and obviously these things running on electronic components and such, but those were a lot of drones falling out of the sky, even though they weren't that high. It seems like they started the show and all of a sudden they just like dropped, but they were still, electrified, obviously. And I really like to see the results of this investigation. Apparently, what they said was the FAA are going to head this investigation. So I'm going to follow up with that. And when I find out more, I'll bring it to you guys. And of course, and hopefully better news on how the boy is doing. These are the latest ongoing drone incursions that are happening. And before I get into that, I'm going to show you a little something about people saying that these drones are spraying. We all know about geoengineering and the reasons, or the possible dual reasons behind it. Apparently this geoengineering, and I know what components they are spraying, and you've all seen it in the sky, usually near the sun or where the sun is going to go. And it's basically to reflect some of the solar radiation away from the earth to combat what they say is climate change and keep the earth cooler. On the other side of this, I'd love to tell you my theory on the second reason why they do it. So what I'm going to do is just read you this. This is today's basically breakdown of this whole spraying and people getting sick, possibly from drones. I'm not sure what the connection is with that, other than people reporting spraying. I don't have any clips of that spraying. I did see some, but I didn't see any I didn't think it was relevant to put it on. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and share my screen with you and read this to you really quick. It says here, in recent weeks, numerous reports have emerged of mysterious drones flying over parts of New Jersey and the broader Northeast United States. These sightings have sparked public concern and speculation regarding drones' origins and purposes. Notably, some residents have reported observing drones spraying substances into the sky, leading to heightened anxiety. A video circulating on social media, which is the one I was just telling you about, shows a drone spraying an unknown substance over a New Jersey neighborhood. However, fact-checking organizations have found no credible evidence to support these claims. Snopes, a reputable fact-checking website, investigated that video and concluded that there is no proof of drone spraying substances in New Jersey. They noted that while drone sightings have been reported, none have been corroborated by federal, state, or local authorities. In response to the surge in drone sightings, the Federal Aviation Administration has implemented temporary flight restrictions in multiple areas across New Jersey. These measures aim to enhance security and address potential risks associated with unauthorized drone activities. The FAA's actions include bans on flying drones in specific cities, with notices warning of deadly force against violators. Additionally, federal agencies, including the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security, are actively investigating these incidents. Authorities have stated that while the drones have been observed, there is no current evidence to suggest they pose a direct threat. Investigations are ongoing to determine the operations and intentions behind these drone flights. The unexplained nature of these drone sightings has led to various theories among the public. Some individuals speculate that the drones could be part of a government surveillance program, while others suggest they might be operated by foreign entities. However, no concrete evidence has emerged to substantiate these claims. Experts advise caution against jumping into conclusions and emphasize the importance of relying on verified information from official sources. Now, we spoke before about how the press briefing with that General Ryder, where he says that, and this really mind boggles me, and and let me know what you think, because this has been really bothering me, and I think it's bothering hundreds of thousands, if not more. They're saying in this press conference that, number one, they know it's not ours. Two, they know it's not our adversary or enemies. And three, there is no threats with these drones and what I call UAPs, but possibly could be some drones. I don't know what they are. But since the government changed the acronym, I call them UAPs because they're unknown, but people are calling them drones because that is what the media started calling them, and I wonder where they got that idea from. You can use your imagination and leave your comments on that one. The average person has to have enough common sense to understand that when they hear someone at the podium saying that to reporters, it's not ours, it's not our enemies, and there's no threat. The common sense that I'm talking about is, why aren't more people, not so much up in arms, but why are not more people talking about that specific thing? And I know there are some, because I've been on social media and I've been looking at this whole thing, and to me it's just ludicrous. Like, I understand the dumbed down propaganda and all this other stuff that you try to do to people. And when I say you, I'm talking about certain entities, in my opinion, try to keep people dumbed down. So I don't know. I'd like your opinion on whether or not you think this is U.S. tech, foreign adversary. Let me know what you think, because this is getting a little ridiculous. We've been talking about drones now, at least for me, going on almost a week and a half. And the reason why I am, it's because it's ongoing. This has not stopped. I can't speak to the expansion of the sightings other than what I showed the other day with Newfork. I have reports not too far from me in Central New York that we're getting sightings in Albany. And so I just want your opinion on what you think these drones are. Let me know what you think. Adversary, ours. But something tells me that since this is not stopping and it's ongoing, I just have just an eerie sense about this whole thing. And coming from, I worked for government, law enforcement for 23 years, late 90s, early 2000s. I can tell you that I've seen things, but I would dismiss them right away because it really wasn't worth talking about back then. If you brought it up, it's like the old saying, you bring it up, you're a kook. But I can tell you that I've seen things that I could not explain, but whether it was on the way to resolve an issue or I was going to an assignment. Uh, in law enforcement, it's not something that we were able to just come out and talk about. Just like the pilots that fly the planes and a lot of other areas of whether it's government or commercial, private or public, either way. It was a thing back then where people didn't really talk about it. But one of these days I'll get into some of the things that I've seen. But for now, we're going to get into these clips that I want to show you. The latest stuff that I was able to acquire, some sent to me. Thank you. I appreciate it. So we're going to go to Knoxville, Tennessee. And this is quite an impressive view of these drones. It's not just one or two of them. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one.
Y'all are saying this, right?
Yeah,
This is not what everybody's talking about on the news right now.
I think so. Whoa.
Knoxville, Tennessee. They're not planes. They're not helicopters. At least I don't believe they're helicopters. I think what they are UAPs. And you can hear the young lady in the background saying, "Are these the things they're talking about, like up in New Jersey and all this other stuff, New York?" And just wanted to bring that clip to you because there was to me, that was probably one of the largest concentration of UAP, or if you want to call them drones, that I've seen so far in a video clip. And on top of that, we're talking Tennessee, the Knoxville area. So, interesting. It's not going away. There's a reason for it. And again, I'm going to emphasize my personal feeling on this. Very eerie and still concerned. So, let's move on to the next one. We have a sighting here that prompts restrictions in, like we just read, in New Jersey. And I'm hearing talk that they're going to start doing restrictions in New York also. So let's have a look at this real quick. See you on the backside.
This just in tonight, the mystery drone sightings lead to new restrictions for parts of New York.
This comes after the FAA issued temporary drone restrictions for nearly 24 towns and cities in New Jersey. But as Alicia Reed reports, there are still questions and calls for transparency.
Drones will now be temporarily banned over parts of New York. Governor Kathy Hochul says the FAA's new restrictions will help protect critical infrastructure in the state. Many of the neighborhoods are near area airports. Earlier Thursday, the FAA banned drones in 22 New Jersey areas until at least January 17th.
The reports keep conflicting, so...
Sightings like this started a month ago in New Jersey, hovering over the skyline and raising eyebrows. Jersey City made the list. The skies were pretty clear on the first night of the ban. Nearly 40 miles away in Bridgewater, our cameras captured what could have been a plane or a drone. In nearby Watchung, Mayor Ronald Jubin says sightings have been constant since mid-November.
Hundreds. I see them every night.
He's frustrated his town didn't make the list. Disappointed. He says there's a lack of transparency and communication.
No one reached out to Watchung whether we thought that was relevant here.
The FAA, FBI, and Homeland Security have all said the majority of lights in the sky have been misidentified and that there's no threat to the public.
People are not convinced that it's safe. We need to gather more information.
They say there's nothing going on, but we're going to shut down airspace anyway. I don't get it.
The federal government has sent a drone detection system to New York and New Jersey. Governor Kathy Hochul saying these new restrictions are a precautionary measure, reiterating there are no threats.
New Jersey Senator Brentwick. We're going to shut down airspace anyway, even though we don't know what these things are. Isn't that odd? You don't know what these things are. That's what they're telling us. but you're going to shut down airspace. And not only shut down certain airspace, but also implement FAA restrictions. What do you think about this? I mean, that's a pretty big deal. That affects commercial, obviously, and private, but more commercial for us. If you're flying for the holidays, I mean, it's Christmas Eve, and we have restrictions, especially in one of the most populated areas of the country. Just leave me your comments on those. It's just odd to me that, you got to keep in the back of your mind what they're telling us, and then bring it to the forefront of your mind what they're now saying to us, and what they're implementing, but for what reason? So they don't fly into other planes, or doesn't hit a plane? Well, based on this next video, I guess maybe part of that FAA thing could be coming in handy. Now, this video, there was a lot of comments on this video, but this is probably one of the best shots I think I've ever seen, should this be 100% accurate. And I'm going to show it to you right now. Very brief video clip. So obviously you saw that I played it in regular speed, and I also played it in slow motion. The reason why is I wanted to point out to you, if you were really paying attention to the slow motion part of the video, feel free to rewind this and look at it as many times as you want. And you don't have to agree with me, but I'm pretty good at spotting certain things when it comes to reflections. I'm not talking about the sun. It is obvious that the sun is to the back of both of those objects, that plane and that UAP, or whatever you want to call it, but toward 3/4 of the way in, as the UAP starts to move a little more forward on that wing, you're seeing mostly, at least to me, the reflection of what's on the ground, and I did see a few structures underneath that craft. Secondly, right about the 75-76% mark on that video, I noticed you could see the end of the wingtip reflecting off the very side of that object. So for anyone out there that's calling this CGI, I'm not going to disagree with you. I found this video, I wanted to present it to you, and I'm doing it because I want your opinion on it. Do you think it's CGI? Or this is why I played it two different ways for you guys. Now, I saw it. Go ahead and play it back again if you want. I can see the tip of the airplane on the closest side, almost on the bottom, but on the closest side of that craft or UAP. So that's interesting. So I'm not saying it's real, but that's what I saw. And before I even put this together for this video, I analyzed that thing for a little while, and I am seeing that wing. So if it was CGI, this is a CGI I've never seen before, because while it's turning slowly, you can see it come into frame. And that's, number one, that's extremely close. Number two, you can hear the plane running. And that's the usual sound you'll hear, especially if you're recording with a phone microphone or smartphone microphone. Everybody on that plane, when they landed, officials boarded the plane They weren't specific, but they did put the word FBI in there and some other officials that they didn't know who they were, but obviously looked like they were with the government. Every passenger on that airliner, before they were allowed to leave the plane, dismount the plane, they had to hand over all of their phones and apparently wait at the airport for about 3 hours, and then the phones were returned back to them. And they didn't say anything about if you didn't cooperate, they'd be arrested. There was none of that. It was just that. It was just that. I guess it was about 3 hours. They had to wait 2 or 3 hours, and they would not let them leave the plane until they handed the phone over. They literally came in with bags. So I'll find out more. I believe that one was right over, yes, it was over New Jersey. So I don't know if it was Newark Airport or another airport in New Jersey, but I know Newark is one of the busiest ones. But I mean, with that thing so close to the airplane, I would think somebody, I don't know, I would think somebody from the ground might have caught it. Maybe they did and they just didn't put it up yet. This is very recent, either yesterday or the day before. And yeah, can you imagine that? You're not allowed to leave this plane until you hand over your phones. And then they waited 3 hours, I think up to 3 hours for some people to get their phone back. And when they got their phone back, they say the footage was taken off of their phones. But somehow someone got this out. So I don't know how they worked that. I'm guessing some people had more than one phone on them. So, interesting, but true story. That was the paragraph that came with that particular video, with that clear, one of the clearest shots I've ever seen of a UAP, with a possible reflection of the wingtip under that. So, leave your comments on that. And I think it's very interesting, and that's why I played it the way I did, fast, and then I did a slow motion one for you. We're going to move along to North Carolina, another interesting one. Now, I'm sure you've seen military aircraft from the Air Force, the big ones, you know, the Strato and the C-130s, those planes that can carry our tanks, our Humvees. But that particular video from North Carolina, December 23rd, courtesy of Reddit. That was from Reddit. And didn't look like an airplane. And second of all, based on the background of what I see in there, the lights and some of the buildings, that thing was extremely big. It kind of looked separated the way the lights were. Let me know what you think. Either way, it kind of moved all in unison. It moved together, you know? So what I'm saying is that thing was very, very big. And I don't know, I'm just amazed by this. I don't know if that was just a bunch of real drones just synchronizing together, because I know it's known to do that, especially like when you go back to that Florida show, they do a lot of synchronizing with their shows. That's a possibility that's all it was. But if that was a UAP, that's something I've never seen before. So I wanted to bring it to you guys and show it to you also. Yeah, very interesting. We're going to go to Sparta, New Jersey. Let's have a load of this.
Okay, I got two on camera. Looks like one is trying to approach the one I'm filming. Let's see what happens here. It's getting closer. It's hovering around it. There's a third one to the right. There's three right now. This is some wild shit. Right above a mountain range. Not moving. Looks like this one's getting closer to it too. Obviously can't be a plane. Yeah, I got it right now. Wondering if one is trying to come close to it. Let's see if it gets a little closer. Pretty clear night here. Getting really close. Very close. Obviously, both are not moving. These are stationary drones, not helicopters, not planes. The light below is a house in the mountain. So these are less than probably 100 feet above that house right now.
Sparta, New Jersey. So you can see that one UAP just kind of duck under the other one, and they kind of like stay stationary for a period of time, although they are moving what to me looked like going toward the right. And what he did was great. He pointed out that there was a house there. Obviously the lights were on, and he describes it as about 100 feet above them. That's extremely close. That's very close to a house. So if those people were home, unless they were just in the house watching TV and not hearing any noise from these things, they wouldn't know. But I find it hard to believe that they didn't know it. But I would love to know if these people on the mountain saw this thing, and hopefully maybe they come out with some footage. Maybe they caught it. But either way, this guy just down from the mountain, sort of in the valley of that area, took a great video in Sparta, New Jersey, of those two UAP. Literally what he describes as 100. I think it's more like 500 feet or more, but maybe it's 100 feet. But either way, they're both close. It's very close to just the mountain itself, let alone residential structure. Let me know what you think about that one. I'd love to hear your comments on that. He did a great job, I think, of recording that with his phone. So yeah, and we're going to get into one more interesting thing here. This is a lady out of New Jersey. She's been talking about how she knows someone in the military. She's very close to them. I don't know if it's a family friend or relative. We're going to find out here in a minute. I just saw a brief clip of it, or just a brief moment of it, but I knew it was more the words that caught me. And apparently what she says in there is that this is a person that's, I believe, active in the military. But I don't know. I'll let you decide. Let's. Apparently she's pretty outspoken about this drone issue in New Jersey. So you can probably find her on Twitter and all the other platforms. And she's been talking about this a lot. This one here was today. So this was today, Christmas Eve. So let's have a listen to what she had to say, and with the person she apparently knows that's in the military or law enforcement here.
I think I'm nuts, but why should today be any different than any other day? I know this guy whose father worked with the Pentagon and NASA and like secret projects, and he has been messaging me that he will never forgive himself if he doesn't tell the people that he knows that for a month he's been watching this situation. And now, several days ago, before it became a discussion in the mainstream media, that these drones are ours and that they could very possibly be sniffing out something very dangerous, some missing dangerous W from the war, and that areas that coincide with where the drones have been seen have spiked in radiation. So he said it's time to think about where I am and that I might want to go somewhere with my daughter. So like for me, you know, we blow things off and we think nothing's going to happen, but things do happen. I remember sitting in my car with my driver who said to me months before I even knew what the words global pandemic meant, I think there's going to be a global pandemic. I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, if he had bet the markets, he would have been a billionaire. So I'm just listening to this guy and watching. And now Trump, who's hanging out with a lot of billionaires who have a lot of money for research, is also finding out that these are ours. And what were the government's choices? A, tell us that that's what they're doing and widespread panic and pandemonium, or B, do what they're doing. But something is wrong, because otherwise they would eliminate them, and everyone's being very cagey. So
he's actually messaging her. I'm assuming if she's saying messaging, I don't know if she's talking about the platform Meta or Facebook, but I think she was referring to text messages. If this is if that guy proves to be who he says he is, either working for or knows someone that works for the Pentagon and is giving her this information, and she's putting it out here on social media, but again, she didn't give any names, so whoever this person is right now, you're protected. But what do you think? This goes back to what I talked about in one of my last videos. She seems to be getting messages about how the government are the ones that are putting up these drones, or their version of UAPs with special equipment on there to sniff out what we talked about the other day. That we talked about that some possible weapon or something with a lot of radiation that came in through a port in New Jersey, and that's what they've been doing all along. And that could possibly be the reason why they're not telling us anything. Obviously, you don't want to panic the public. I can understand that, for one. For two, when you got the FBI and DHS investigating, they're not going to tell you much, especially since it's ongoing. And from my experience in law enforcement, when an active investigation is going, and as frustrating as this is for all of us, and for everybody, they can't tell you much if there's an active investigation. That's just the fact, because they need to have the room and the space to do what they have to do and find out what's going on. So if they are trying to sniff something out that came in that's potentially dangerous for us, and I hope that's not the case, and if it is, I do believe our government's doing all they can to sniff this thing out. If that's the case, I don't know. Let me know what you think. This is not the first time we've heard of this. This is not the first time I've discussed it here on the Human Spectrum. So, and I just put up a clip of this young lady who has been very outspoken on this issue, and now she's talking about this person who has inside knowledge of what's going on in the Pentagon, and texting her and saying that this is a government operation. What Dr. Greer is saying is going to be like a fake alien invasion to get the people to look over here so that you're not really paying attention to what they're doing over here, which is quite a contrast from what Farsight has been saying. So, I'm sure some of you have already visited Farsight, that I've talked about many times here on the Human Spectrum, and if you haven't, check them out. They have a different view of what's going on. Maybe it's a combination of both. Who knows? But right now, if you want to look at this from a realistic point of view, what she's saying could possibly be it, because this has been brought up more than once. Even on, I think it was even on News Nation, that I think they did mention that it could be a possibility. When they had someone on there they were interviewing, saying that they could be searching for something that could be dangerous to the community of that area, or the public, or the entire United States, which I hope is not the case. Either way, something is going on, and I do understand that if it's our assets they're using and it's an ongoing investigation, they definitely can't say much until the investigation's done, or they've found whatever they're looking for, if that's what they're doing. If it's not, it could be, like I said, what Farsight's been talking about. And if it's not that, then I don't know what it is. We can jump into conspiracy theories. It would be NHI, but at this point, the word NHI is no longer a conspiracy theory, at least based on the professionals that have testified in Congress under oath, saying that there are NHI, and that they either have been with them, working with them, or they have biologics. So that's already on the record. So I guess we can't really cross that off until we hear otherwise, until we find out more. But yeah, that's what I wanted to show you today. And also let me know what you think about any of the clips that I've shown you today, and on that letter that I read, or that information that I read a little while ago, about them saying that there is no spraying going on over New Jersey, New York, or Maryland, or Long Island, and they don't believe, toward the summary was, there's no evidence of that. And the symptoms were coughing, sneezing, some pretty severe, and doctors would just point to the current season we're in right now. So saying that it's, flu season, they're definitely going to fall back on that. So there's no proof of this, obviously, but I did want to bring it to your attention in case you didn't know. People have been putting up videos of these things up in the sky spraying, not horizontally, vertically. We've all seen the geoengineering that they do, but think about it the opposite way, going down, and there are videos of it. And but it wasn't compelling enough for me to want to put it up here and show it to you. You can go ahead and search for drone spraying on whatever platform you're on. So Definitely look into that on your own and research that. And if you find anything more compelling, whether it's video or images, definitely send me what you have. Whether it's UAPs or drones that they call them, and paranormal activity that could be related to this. That brings me to think about Skinwalker Ranch, actually. But who knows? A lot of this stuff can all be tied together. But this current drone situation or UAP situation, not only over New Jersey anymore, it's all over the place. But the spraying part of it, the alleged spraying and the people getting sick, is apparently over the tri-state area of New York, Connecticut, and, well, I should say 4 states. Even Pennsylvania, I heard reports of people being sick. But there's no proof that whatever they're spraying is meant to make you sick, and maybe it's not spray we're seeing, it could be something else. Maybe it's a light that's just pointing down. But in one video it did look like spray, just the way it was drifting. But you can seek out those videos and check them out yourselves, and if you find anything compelling, let me know. Yeah, definitely send me anything you have. If it's your first time here, subscribe. I upload videos pretty consistently, and we are now a podcast also. We're going to be going on all other platforms very soon. And again, I have an upcoming interview coming up, so definitely subscribe, because you're going to want to see this interview. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. I want to say Merry Christmas to everyone, and I hope you're safe and having a good time with your friends and your family, and you know, enjoying the holiday season as much as we can. And I'll be back on with more videos and more information. Hopefully this drone thing will die down soon. If it doesn't, this is going to fall back to what I said earlier. It's becoming concerning still. And since this hasn't gone away now, we're going on almost 2 months. For me personally, I have an eerie feeling about this, and I'm hoping it's a false alarm. And it's, like I said, it's from experience. You know, law enforcement isn't the easiest job in the world. And I know how the community feels toward law enforcement. What I can tell you is when I was in law enforcement, I tried to do my best for my community that I worked in or wherever I was assigned to, and was always fair, and always kept in mind that my paychecks were coming from you, the citizens. And unfortunately, we have some people out there in law enforcement that don't think that way. But myself, that's how I always thought every time I went out there. You're paying my salary, I'm going to treat you with respect no matter what the circumstances are. That's how I did my job. But we'll get into more about my personal stuff later on. But right now we want to find out what's going on with this eerie feeling I'm having, and these drones or UAPs continuing to show up not only in New Jersey but all over the United States, as you've seen from these video clips. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Happy holidays, everyone, and take care of yourselves.
The human spectrum's on the track, yo.